Assalamualaikum and greetings to Dr. Zurena, and today FAZIYA and I, Hashima, are going to present a social linguistic analysis of Syed Saddiq bin Rahman's speeches, focusing on how he used language differently across formal and informal settings. So Syed Saddiq is a well-known Malaysian politician which currently serving as a member of Parliament for MUA, and he's also the founder and president of MUDA. The focus of our research is to examine how he used different linguistic styles and social-linguistic approaches when discussing political and social issues. To explore this, we've chosen two contrasting settings. So the first is his formal speech in Parliament, where he typically follows standard language norms, speaks more formally, and may even code switch for emphasis or clarity. So the second setting is his informal communication on TikTok, where he adopts a more casual tone to connect with his followers. So this analysis highlights not only his personal communication strategy, but also reflects broader social-linguistic trends in Malaysia politics.
Now, let's take a look at the theoretical framework that guides our analysis. We focus on two main sociolinguistic concepts, which is the first one is code switching. This is when someone switches between two or more languages during a conversation. And note quiz 2019 notes, this often happens in spoken communication and shows how aware a speaker is of their audience. The second one is style. This means speaking either formally or informally depending on the situation. As Abdul and Feller 2015 explained, we naturally change how we speak depending on where we are and who we are with. So secondly, we apply two key sociolinguistic elements. The first one is audience design. According to Bell 1984, people adjust their language more based on who they are talking to rather than just their personal style. So the second one is register from Halliday 1978 explains that language change based on the situation. So we connect these ideas to the ESG framework, specifically the social component. ESG helps us to understand how language can reflect social values and power structures. In our study, the social pillar is the key because we focus on how Syed Saddiq uses language to empower youth and promote political inclusivity.
Let's move on to the methodology of this research. For this research, we selected two speeches by Syed Saddiq to represent different communication contexts. His first speech used a formal tone and the content was centered around serious topics like freedom of speech. So the second speech comes from an informal setting, specifically in an interview session which posted online. Here we see a noticeable shift in tone. So as for data collection, we utilize two main sources, which is official parliamentary records and his TikTok account, which offered samples of his informal communication style, including interviews and casual content. In terms of analysis, we use a qualitative approach by focusing on aspects like lexical choices, sentence structure, and tone adjustment.
Next, let's explore two key sociolinguistic concepts that we found in the videos. So the first one is code switching. In the first video, Syed Saddiq does this by mixing formal Malay with English. For example, he said, "Minta maaf is unparliamentary," and he also said, "unbelievably subjective." It was used to emphasize emotion and highlight the seriousness of the issues he was raising. When he was in Parliament, he knew his speech was also being live streamed on platforms like TikTok. So although the setting was formal, he was consciously engaging with a wider, younger digital audience, that people who often feel unheard or disconnected from political discourse. This shows how code switching can maintain political credibility while also reaching out in a more relatable and emotionally resonant way. Moving on to our second sociolinguistic concept, which is style shifting. So in the second video, which is the TikTok interview video, Syed Saddiq speaks in a more casual and friendly way. For example, he said, "So that's why I think it is important for young people to be able to shape politics, because if we don't shape it, others will shape it for us. And that others may not represent us." So in this video, his language is more simple and easy to understand, direct and conversational, he also focused on real life issues. So not only that, his body language also matched his tone with relaxed posture, expressive face, and warm and friendly voice. This style makes him feel more approachable. It helps young people feel heard, he's having a real conversation with them, not just by talking to them.
So, sociolinguistic elements which found in his speech are focusing on two main aspects, register and audience design. So let us begin with register. In the parliamentary setting, Saddiq used a formal register which is expected in such a professional and political environment. For example, siapa yang akan tentukan definisi tersakiti ini? So this line demonstrated a serious tone and structured sentence that reflects a high level of formality. However, what's interesting is that he didn't stay formal throughout the speech. He also used phrases like boleh tengok ucap-ucapan yang guna perkataan bodoh bangau. So now this is very different in tone, the phrase bodoh bangau. So we see a shift from formal to informal. So this code switch shows how language is tailored to fit the context and audience. As for the audience design, this concept is about how speakers adjust their language to suit their listeners. In this case, YB Saddiq clearly tailored his message for young Malaysians, especially those who are active on platforms like TikTok. He used gesture, like body language, and spoke in a way that felt like a real conversation. And this wasn't as accidental, it was a deliberate sociolinguistic strategy. Okay, now let's compare these two specific videos to see how YB Saddiq adapts his language use. So in the video 1, which is a parliamentary speech, he switched between formal and informal register. During the policy discussion, he maintains a formal tone to project professionalism and authority. However, he also occasionally used a more relatable style to connect with his audience, showing balance. So in contrast, video 2, an interview on TikTok, shows a consistently relaxed and conversational tone. So here, he clearly tailored his language for a young digital audience by building emotional connection with viewers. So by using informal language and a friendly style that aligns well with social media culture. Overall, both video highlights his flexible use of language depending on the platform and audience.
Next, let's move on to how the videos reflect the social pillar of ESG, which stands for Environmental, Social and Governance. This case study focuses on the social aspects, which is all about youth empowerment and inclusive political engagement. YB Saddiq's use of code switching and style shifting is not just about the sounding relatable, but it is a strategic way to promote social justice and democratic participation, especially among young people. So by using platforms like TikTok, he moves away from traditional formal political speech. Instead, he chooses a more authentic and informal tone that resonates better with today's digital generation. So this shows how digital communication can help achieve ESG social goals by making politics more accessible, inclusive, and by reaching those who often feel left out. So in this way, language isn't just for delivering messages. It becomes a powerful tool to connect with society and support real change. So to wrap up our presentation, let's go over the key points. So YB Saddiq shows how to communicate effectively in different settings. He switched smoothly between formal language in parliament and a casual tone on TikTok, showing a strong understanding of both his audience and the platform. So by using sociolinguistic concepts like code switching and style shifting, he builds a bridge between politics and youth culture. This makes politics feel more accessible and inclusive, especially for young people who often feel left out. And most importantly, all of this supports the social pillar of ESG, which focuses on inclusivity, community involvement, and using communication to drive positive social change. Lastly, these are the references that supported our research.